snub stings, particularly hard for the Duchess, who actually had a shot at attending this year's costume art-themed event, given that two of the co-chairs, Beyoncé and Venus Williams, have loose connections to her social circle.
The way things have been unfolding lately for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it honestly feels like the invitations just keep disappearing, one by one. First, there was all the talk around major celebrity events, and now people are side-eyeing another situation involving Harry's own family. This time, the conversation exploded after the King's Trust Global Gala in New York, where a long list of famous faces showed up, but Harry and Meghan were nowhere in sight.
Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will not be returning as working members of the royal family. Prince Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties last year and moved to the United States.
And people immediately started asking questions. The event brought together huge names from the fashion and entertainment world. Anna Wintour was there. Donatella Versace showed up. Martha Stewart made an appearance. Edward Enninful was also part of the crowd. The room was packed with influential celebrities, public figures, and high-profile guests connected to the King's charity work. But despite Harry literally being King Charles's son, he and Meghan didn't appear connected to the event at all.
It's not just the Met. They were absent from all events during King Charles's US visit this week. Royal events, White House events, just a full clean sweep of not there.
Now, of course, nobody publicly said they were banned or anything dramatic like that, but online commentary started pouring in because people noticed the distance between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family seems bigger than ever right now. And let's be real, when an event tied so closely to Harry's father happens on the same side of the world they live on, people are naturally going to wonder why there wasn't even a public reunion, photo, or appearance together. Especially because Montecito to New York isn't exactly impossible travel for celebrities with their level of connections and resources. A lot of royal watchers have been saying this feels less like scheduling issues and more like a clear sign that the relationship behind the scenes is still ice cold. The public tension between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family has already been talked about for years, but moments like this just keep adding more fuel to the conversation.
Look, we've got to talk about that couple formerly known as royals, Harry and Meghan. They love to share their innermost thoughts and they love media attention, don't they?
And then there's the Met Gala chatter that started circulating online too. Meghan also didn't appear at this year's Met Gala, which instantly sparked another wave of commentary across social media. Some people were surprised because fashion conversations have always followed Meghan closely, whether positive or negative. Others argued that the Met Gala crowd tends to be extremely selective about who gets invited every year, especially when organizers want the focus centered entirely on fashion and celebrity networking without extra controversy stealing headlines. That's been a huge topic surrounding Meghan for a while now. Critics constantly claim that wherever Harry and Meghan go, the media attention quickly shifts into controversy, debates, and non-stop online reactions. Supporters say they're unfairly targeted, while critics argue the couple often keeps themselves in the center of public drama. Either way, their presence always gets people talking, and honestly, that may be part of why certain elite circles seem hesitant lately. Because when King Charles attended the gala connected to his foundation, the focus stayed almost entirely on charity work, celebrity guests, and glamorous fashion moments. There weren't explosive family headlines dominating the event afterward. No awkward royal tension.
Wednesday's Global Gala marked the 50th anniversary of the King's Trust and included A-listers like Anna Wintour, Karlie Kloss, Donatella Versace, Martha Stewart, Megan Fahey, Leo Woodall, Amon, and Nina Dobrev. It was also co-chaired by Lionel Richie, Edward Enninful, and Charlotte Tilbury. Photos from inside the celebration show Richie and the monarch shaking hands, as well as taking turns at the podium.
No uncomfortable questions hanging over every interaction. Meanwhile, online observers couldn't stop pointing out one uncomfortable detail. King Charles reportedly had time to mingle with major celebrities across the room, yet there still appears to be a massive emotional gap between him and Harry. That's the part people keep circling back to, because from the outside looking in, many feel like this wasn't just about another party invitation. To a lot of viewers, it looked symbolic of how distant things may have become between Harry and parts of his own family behind closed doors. What's really making people talk right now is the fact that this doesn't look like just one awkward situation anymore. According to a lot of online commentary, it's starting to feel like Harry and Meghan are slowly being pushed further away from circles they once seemed connected to so easily. And people especially started noticing that after both the King's Trust Gala and the Met Gala conversations happened almost back to back. Now, nobody from either event publicly came out and said, Harry and Meghan can't come. That never happened, but viewers online have been piecing things together based on who was included.
King Charles may finally be starting to realise that there is absolutely no reason to work with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Buckingham Palace says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will no longer be working members of the royal family. In a statement, Queen Elizabeth said Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be loved members of my family, but she recognizes the challenges and intense scrutiny they've experienced. As a result, Meghan and Harry will no longer receive public funds and will no longer use their time.
Who was photographed and who never appeared anywhere near the guest lists. And once people noticed the pattern, the speculation exploded. A lot of royal commentators believe Meghan and Harry's ongoing tension with the royal family may still be affecting how certain elite social spaces interact with them. Again, that's public opinion and commentary, not confirmed fact. But people keep bringing up how closely some major figures in fashion and high society are tied to the monarchy and traditional royal circles. So naturally, many started wondering whether all the public fallout over the last few years changed how some influential people see the couple behind closed doors. Because let's be honest, things between Harry and the royal family haven't exactly looked warm lately. Outside of the constant headlines surrounding Prince Andrew, the palace has mostly tried to keep a calmer image in public. Less chaos, less emotional interviews, less public family conflict. And according to many observers, bringing Harry and Meghan into major royal-connected events right now could instantly shift attention away from charity work or fashion and right back into royal drama. That's the part people keep emphasizing online. One appearance together could have triggered endless media stories, body language breakdowns, reunion rumors, tension speculation, and non-stop tabloid coverage for days.
Media and said, well, of course, we'd entertain. We'd love to have an invitation, something along the lines of we'd entertain an invitation to Sandringham. Of course, he wants that because if you're invited by the king, you automatically get state-funded security, which is all he cares about. He doesn't want to spend any more dollars of his own.
So how they could expect that after all of this time, we would still just be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about.
And some people believe organizers simply didn't want that energy hanging over events that were supposed to feel polished and celebratory. At the same time, many viewers also think these invitations would have been incredibly valuable for Harry and Meghan from a public image perspective. The King's Trust Gala especially could have placed them back around influential donors, celebrities, fashion insiders, and philanthropic circles all at once. Events like that are about much more than just photos on a carpet. They create connections, future collaborations, business opportunities, and social credibility. One major appearance can completely shift public momentum. That's why so many people online saw their absence as meaningful, not necessarily personal rejection in a dramatic movie-style way, but more like a sign that certain institutions and elite circles may be keeping a little distance for now.
Harry is really keen to get his father involved, which I can tell you now Prince William will not let happen.
The King and Queen's visit to the 9/11 Memorial in New York, then on to Harlem and the New York Public Library rounded off a perfect tour. Meanwhile, Harry is trapped in this odd space where he still wants the status of royalty. This is, of course, while spending most of his time, along with wife Meghan, disrespecting the institution that gave him relevance in the first place.
And then people started revisiting the decisions Harry and Meghan made after stepping away from royal duties. At the time, many supporters viewed the move as bold and independent. The couple launched huge interviews, streaming projects, public speaking appearances, and media deals. For a while, it looked like they were building an entirely new global brand outside palace walls. But critics now argue the strategy may not have played out the way they expected. Because according to a lot of commentary online, royal associations still carried massive influence behind the scenes, especially when it came to prestige events, philanthropy, and high-level networking. Without that royal connection operating the same way it once did, some observers feel the couple now faces a much tougher road socially and professionally. Even the Invictus Games, which remains one of Harry's most respected projects, gets pulled into these conversations. People continue debating how much royal backing and institutional support help elevate events like that internationally. Some commentators believe strong royal ties bring extra visibility, political support, sponsorship interest, and global attention that's difficult to fully replace. And right now, the biggest thing people seem to notice is the growing distance itself. Not just physical distance between California and the UK, but the emotional and public separation that keeps becoming harder to ignore every single year.
I mean, on any given day, the surrounds of the Opera House have got more people there than we saw for Harry and Meghan. It's like people avoided the area to avoid them. And there was that footage from Bondi Beach where people are just, suntanning whilst the media pack walks through.
That woman's my
the,
new hero.
This is like, leave us alone. We're at the beach. We don't want to see this spectacle. The level of interest was almost zero here.
Yeah, look, you see bigger crowds, trying to get petrol at the petrol station when the word about panic.
One of the biggest things people keep bringing up in all of this is Harry's military background and how different his role looks today compared to a few years ago. Because whether people support him or criticize him, one thing most agree on is that military service was a huge part of his identity during his time as a working royal. Harry served in Afghanistan and spent years building close connections with veterans and military organizations. Back then, he was regularly seen at remembrance events, ceremonies, official appearances, and gatherings connected to service members. Those moments became some of the strongest parts of his public image. But after stepping away from senior royal duties, things changed dramatically. A lot of the ceremonial responsibilities and official military associations tied to the monarchy no longer applied to him in the same way. And according to royal commentators, that shift created a major emotional and symbolic gap between Harry's old role and his current position outside the institution. Now, when large royal military events happen, it's usually King Charles, Prince William, and other senior royals front and center representing the crown. Meanwhile, Harry often appears completely separate from those moments. That contrast has become impossible for people online to ignore, because years ago Harry was standing alongside the family during major national ceremonies. Today, many viewers feel like he's observing from a distance instead of participating directly. Some royal watchers say it highlights the very clear divide between working royals and family members who stepped away from official duties. And honestly, that seems to be one of the hardest parts of this whole situation.
Bullying as seen as a bully inside the palace. Absolutely, he is. When he doesn't get what he wants, he stamps his foot like a child and not only does what he was going to do anyway, but then tries to emotionally blackmail his father with his own children, Archie and...
Leaving royal life may have sounded freeing at first, especially when Harry and Meghan talked about wanting more independence and privacy. But according to a lot of public commentary, the long-term consequences now appear much bigger than many expected. The status, access, ceremonial roles, and institutional support connected to royal life carried enormous influence. Once that structure disappeared, so did many of the traditions and appearances Harry had been associated with for years. And for many observers, the military side of things especially stands out because that area always seemed deeply personal to him. People also continue talking about the relationship between Harry and King Charles, which many believe still looks extremely strained in public. Even during times when both Harry and Charles happen to be in the same country, reports constantly circulate about missed meetings, scheduling conflicts, or brief visits that never fully happen. Of course, nobody outside the family knows exactly what's going on privately, but from the outside looking in, many people feel reconciliation still seems far away, and royal duties always appear to take priority. That's another point commentators keep stressing online. King Charles has official responsibilities, state events, ceremonies, and ongoing royal obligations constantly surrounding him.
King looked very weak if he did have them to Sandringham. Harry and Meghan will come, but it won't be at the King's invitation, my source said adamantly. We shall see.
So when there's already tension inside the family, rebuilding a close father-son relationship probably becomes even more complicated behind palace walls. Then there's another issue critics keep bringing up: Harry and Meghan's international appearances after leaving royal duties. A lot of people online have pointed out that some of their overseas visits still resemble traditional royal tours in terms of media coverage, speeches, security, charity appearances, and public reception. Supporters argue they're simply continuing humanitarian work independently. Critics, however, claim the optics sometimes blur the line between private celebrity life and unofficial royal-style representation. That debate has followed them for years now. And according to many royal commentators, it's one more reason tensions between Harry, Meghan, and the institution may still feel unresolved even after all this time. What's making this whole situation even more awkward is that every new appearance, every missed reunion, and every public event seems to add another layer to the tension people already see between Harry and the palace.
Most Australia polls were horrific. And I think he just needs to be in the public eye. I think he's incredibly self-centered. And the one thing that the king and the palace have always said to him is, stop talking to the press.
And according to a lot of royal commentary online, some insiders reportedly weren't thrilled about Harry and Meghan continuing to take on high-profile international appearances that still carry a very royal-style image. Whether that criticism is fair or not, it definitely keeps the conversation going. But here's the interesting part. Some public reactions during recent overseas visits also appeared far more mixed than they may have expected. In certain places, crowds and media attention reportedly didn't reach the same excitement levels people once associated with Harry and Meghan during their peak royal years. That's something many commentators have been noticing more and more lately, because a few years ago, almost every appearance they made instantly dominated headlines around the world. Now, the reaction online feels a lot more divided. Supporters still defend them heavily and believe they've been treated unfairly, while critics argue the couple lost some of the public goodwill they once had after years of royal drama, interviews, and public fallout. And honestly, that split in public opinion may be one of the biggest reasons this story keeps getting attention. At the center of everything is still the relationship between Harry and King Charles. A lot of royal watchers now describe things as being at one of the lowest points the father-son relationship has ever faced publicly.
Hugo Vickers comes out in his book, and remember, he's a great guy, close confidant of late Queen Elizabeth II, finally comes out and says, oh yeah, the Queen was worried that Harry and Meghan were wired and that they were secretly recording the conversations and potentially trying to set them up. I mean, I reported that back in 2020, Paula, and at that point, people were calling me a conspiracy.
Of course, nobody truly knows what conversations happen privately behind palace doors. Families are complicated, especially royal families with non-stop media attention attached to them. But from the outside looking in, people continue noticing the emotional distance. No major reunion moments. No public signs that things are improving dramatically. No strong indication that both sides are anywhere close to fully rebuilding trust. And after years of tension, interviews, documentaries, and public disagreements, many commentators believe repairing that relationship could take a very long time. Some even think the longer this continues, the harder it may become to fully reconnect. That's the part people really debate online. Because there are viewers who believe King Charles has every right to protect the institution, avoid more controversy, and keep boundaries in place after everything that's happened publicly. But on the other side, there are people who think family should come first no matter what, especially between a father and son. And honestly, both sides of the argument get emotional fast. At the end of the day, nobody outside that family truly knows what the future holds. Relationships can change. Reconciliation can happen when people least expect it, or the distance could continue growing even further over time. Right now, though, one thing seems pretty clear. The royal divide surrounding Harry and Meghan is still one of the biggest celebrity and royal conversations on the internet, but now I want to hear what you think. Do you think King Charles is right to keep some distance right now? Or do you think he should try harder to reconnect with Harry before things drift even further apart? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because this debate is definitely not slowing down anytime soon. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity drama, royal updates, and viral stories everybody's talking about right now. Also, check out the next video popping up on your screen because trust me, the drama there gets even crazier. See you in the next one.